Hello everybody, welcome back. Please like, share, subscribe and comment. And today I'm going to be doing a short video about the so-called Bitsa maniac, Alexander Pichushkin, who is a Russian serial killer also known as the Chessboard Killer. The reason it was referred to the Chessboard Killer is because he had stated that he wanted to kill someone for every square on a chessboard. I think there's like 63 or 64 squares on a chessboard. And also he was actually good at chess by some accounts. He would go to the park and play older individuals at chess and drink vodka with them. But he I believe that he would have killed more than that if he had have achieved what he set out to do, which was cover a chessboard. Each square represents a victim. Excuse me. I believe that he would have kept going even if he achieved that. Now, Russian serial killers are quite fascinating because we don't seem to hear about them that often, but I could guarantee you there's probably just as many as in America, if not more. And I believe that it's almost like serial killers are an American thing because of Hollywood and all that stuff. But let me tell you, these creatures are in every country of the planet. Um, I think sometimes we just don't hear about ones in foreign countries because obviously uh, it's underreported. That's just how I feel about it. Or maybe the police haven't connected them, or they don't have the resources to tackle it. No, Pichushkin it was born and raised in Moscow by his mother and stepfather. He was quite close to his grandfather, who, when he died, I believe he kind of uh, went into this kind of black hole of depression and fantasizing and other mental health issues like drinking a lot. Now, I remember watching a documentary about him in about 2007, and the guy just radiates mental illness. I don't mean like he's mentally ill in the sense that he's not in control of his actions, his faculties, and all that. I believe he knows exactly what he's doing, but I also believe that when you look at his face, you look at his eyes, his presentation, uh, it's like, but being in prison, right? There's just some people you know to avoid, and he would be one of those people. And he killed, excuse me, he killed uh, older people, he killed women, he killed children, like stuffing them down drains. He would like basically bash their skulls in with like blunt instruments. I believe um, he had also inserted like empty glass bottles of vodka inside the wounds. You were talking just about a savage. I was going to say a savage human being, but I don't think he qualifies as a human being. The guy is just an absolute power hungry, sick fuck, to use layman's terms. But I would like to just kind of pull up a wee um it's an older um news article, right? So here we have Russian chess player on trial for 49 alleged murders. Now I want to try and get that to the full screen so that people can see it. Damn, I don't know how to. Damn, so this is an Australian publication. So it's September 14th, 2007. Jury selection began overnight in the Moscow trial of a man accused of murdering 49 people, most of them in a public park, where he reportedly hoped to kill one person for every square on a chessboard. Alexander Pichushkin, 33, is alleged to have committed his first murder as a student in 1992 and to have stepped up his campaign in 2001, bludgeoning his victims to death with a hammer. The Bitsevsky maniac, as he is known, after the sprawling Moscow park where the murders were committed, Mr. Pichushkin has been tried for 49 murders, although investigators said earlier there was proof he had killed 62 people. He has also been dubbed the mad chess player in the media after he told investigators he planned to kill 64 people, one for each square on a chessboard. Investigators said Mr. Pichushkin aimed to exceed the number of victims killed by the infamous Soviet-era serial killer Andrei Chikatilo, another sick fuck, who was convicted in 1992 of murdering 52 people. Now, this is quite interesting because I have read a little bit about this, and he was apparently infatuated with Andrei Chikatilo's case. And Andrei Chikatilo was convicted in 1992 of murdering 52 people, and Pichushkin's first murder was reportedly that same year. So I'm wondering, in fact, I bet my life he was following that case in the media. Um, and I'm wondering, is that what no triggered the murder spree? But obviously there was been a build up of fantasies up until then, and then was that what kind of got the ball rolling, so to speak? Pretty interesting. Could make a case for that, but in court, Mr. Pichushkin appeared in defiant mood, rejecting one lawyer allocated to him on the grounds that he was, quote, on the side of the prosecutors, the RIA Novosti news agency reported. Investigators said most of Mr. Pichushkin's victims were elderly, alcoholic men who he invited to join him for a drink on various pretexts, such as that he was mourning the death of his dog. See, this is what we see in a lot of serial killers as well, or if not all of them. They prey on vulnerable people. Uh, and it's always the person you would least expect and all this kind of stuff. Like, we always expect them to have horns and fangs and blood dripping for their chin and all this shit, but they just look so unassuming, and that's what makes them so successful. But there's just something about this guy. I don't know if it's hindsight that you just look at him and just know the guy's fucked up in the head. But anyway, 3 women were also among the victims. The killing of the third woman, a shop assistant who had worked for Mr. Pichushkin, led police to identify the suspect as she left a note for her son with his phone number before she went on a walk with him. Judge Andrei Zobarov said Mr. Pichushkin had himself asked that the case be held in open court under the full glare of the Russian media. So he's obviously want the notoriety that goes with what he's done. Television footage after his arrest in June last year showed the defendant declaring in a monotone, "I would never have stopped, never. They've saved so many people by catching me." And I believe that statement. I believe, as I said, he would have had, if he had filled up all the squares on the chessboard, I think he would have just got a new chessboard. Mr. Pichushkin was arrested in an elaborate operation in which special forces officers dangled on ropes from the outside of his apartment building to prevent the suspect from trying to commit suicide, the Moscow Times Daily reported. So when it says special forces officers, I think what they're referring to as FSB, Spetsnaz. So you have, excuse me, so Russian special forces referred to as Spetsnaz, but the FSB, the Federalnaya Sluzhba Bezopasnosti, which basically means the Federal Security Service in Russian, they're basically the modern day KGB, Russia's internal security service. They're the domestic agency, like Russia's MI5, Russia's fucking FBI, whatever you want to call them. So they have their own special forces, Spetsnaz, and they're basically just like the SWAT teams. So I doubt it would have been like the army Spetsnaz, if you get me, but obviously I don't know. That's just for my own reading and research. While earlier victims were killed by simply pushing them through a manhole in the park where they drowned due to their inebriated state, some managed to escape only to be bludgeoned to death by their killer. Russia has a moratorium on the death penalty, meaning that if found guilty, Mr. Pichushkin would face life imprisonment. So Pichushkin is serving life in the Polar Owl penal colony in northern Russia. It's within the Arctic Circle. Um, uh, Best place for him. And the guy just looks like a fucking maniac. And they've actually come out and said that he's going to be he's confessed to more murders, which is pretty interesting. This is an article dated of this year. Uh, Twisted killer, notorious chessboard serial killer who brutally slaughtered 48 people, poised to confess to 11 more murders. And this is from 5th of April 2025. Now look at him, like, even if you didn't know what you know about this scumbag just now, I think it would be prudent that there's just something in these eyes that just tell you to stay away from this fruitcake. Uh, the notorious chessboard serial killer who heinously executed 28 people is posed to confess to a shocking 11 more murders. Evil Alexander Pichushkin, 50, targeted mostly the homeless, alcoholics or the elderly before bludgeoning them with a hammer. So that was him during his trial. Just looks like a hobo. And that's the front door of his prison cell. Many locks do you need on that thing, man? Pichushkin declared his readiness to confess to having committed 11 murders of men and women, Russia's Federal Penitentiary Service said. The murders were committed around Bitsevsky Park in Moscow, like his other victims. The monster had a killing spree that spanned from 1992 to 2006 before getting tried and jailed in 2007. He got his name as the Chessboard Killer as he chillingly told detectives he had plotted to put a coin in every square of a 64-square chessboard, representing each of his victims. Pichushkin is currently serving multiple life sentences in Russia's bleak Polar Owl jail in the Russian Arctic, where he is known to receive love letters from Russian women. Fucking hell, man. Today's announcement comes as a surprise as the killer first confessed to additional executions in a video recording nearly 2 decades ago. At the time, he said there were 12 additional killings, but now will confess to 11 more. The taped confession was kept secret at the time, but emerged publicly in 2021. And I don't know if he mistakenly, because there's obviously a discrepancy there. 1 minute it's 12 and then it's 11, so I don't know if maybe one was a child and he doesn't want to admit to that, or if he made a mistake or what. In it, the maniac, handcuffed and wearing a t-shirt, said, "The bits of maniac, as they call me, it is me. In fact, I committed 61 murders, 60 of them in Bitsa Park and one in the city of Moscow. Most of the bodies I drowned in sewage wells. Why did I kill? I don't know. There was no sense in life for me without this." His 2006 confession came after he was tricked into thinking he was speaking live at a press conference. Police had set up the session after he said he would only confess live on TV. Later, he admitted in an interview from his top security jail, from which he will never be freed, that each killing brought me colossal pleasure. It is comparable to an orgasm. See, what we're seeing here is basically this guy is power hung. Just he loves the power. He thrives on the power that gives him, because I feel that he must have felt absolutely powerless in every other aspect of his life, especially growing up. I don't know if he was bullied, fucking sexually assaulted, whatever. But I do believe there must have been some monumental event where he felt completely and totally powerless, and now he's basically fused sexual pleasure with violence. Can't put it any plainer than that. It was also revealed in 2021 that a victim who was attacked and left for dead in a sewer by Pichushkin had given cops his name and address after he had killed 24 people. Maria Verichova was 18 in February 2002 when Pichushkin saw her in tears after a row with her boyfriend and pretended to comfort her. He persuaded her to go with him into the park. This is the victim here. I think that's an old photo with a cat. See, look at him. Something a bit fusty. That's him. Look at him there. Know what I mean? Modern day Raskolnikov times a million. As they walked, he told her his name and address, and she realised she lived close to him. But Pichushkin had only one aim, which was to brutally kill her. She said, I saw an open sewage well. Pichushkin grabbed my hair, started banging my head against the iron well cover. I knew he would kill me. She then let herself fall and crash a whopping 25 feet into the sewage well. By a miracle, many hours later, she managed to lift a manhole cover and scream for help. Maria was taken to hospital where she gave a policeman her attacker's name and address, but the lazy cop named Kalashnikov, fucking hell, was not interested in probing the attack on her. If I'm not mistaken, this lassie was pregnant at the time. She tried to murder a pregnant woman, not him. He promised to tell her boyfriend she was safe and get him to bring some clothes for her, but if she pretended she had fallen into the well. The policeman was later jailed for incompetence. I mean, look at him, man. Is that the end of the article? That is the end of the article, yes. So, I think it's fair to say that this guy is an absolute fucking maniac. But I'm going to just pull up the crime classification manual, and this is the section on sadistic sexual homicide. Characteristics. So hold on. A sexual sadist is one who has established an enduring pattern of sexual arousal in response to sadistic imagery. Sexual gratification is obtained from torture involving excessive mental and physical means. The offender derives the greatest satisfaction from the victim's response to torture. Sexually sadistic fantasies in which sexual acts are paired with domination, degradation, and violence are translated into criminal action that results in death. And this is pretty interesting because one thing that I've read up on Pichushkin is he used to walk about with a video recorder, and back in the 90s he would film himself like dangling kids out of balconies and telling them they were about to die and all this kind of shit. So it's clear the guy's an absolute fucking sadistic fuck. Hold on. Sadistic murder victimology has some similarities to the victimology crime classification 131. So, sexual sadists focus on victims who are white female adults who are strangers. The victimology of this crime may include males, and multiple offenders have been known to prey on both women and men and may also target children, but exclusive victimization of children is less frequent. Blacks are preyed on to a much lesser extent. This is pretty interesting when you look at this, because it basically I believe this classification fits him like a glove. Wait till I read this part. This is pretty telling. The act of killing is often eroticized, meaning he gets turned on by the act of killing. Death comes in a slow, deliberate manner that the offender savours. But since an unconscious or dead victim does not afford the offender the gratification he seeks, great care is taken not to prematurely end her or his life. See, he wasn't, this is what I'm saying, he wasn't just killing his victims like instantaneous death. He was taking his time with it. He wanted to see the effect that it had in the response that the victim was giving him, which is the epitome of sadism. This caution is demonstrated by several cases in which subjects not only took special measures to keep their victims conscious, but actually revived near dead victims in order to cause additional suffering. And we've seen that in the BTK case. where he would strangle people to the point of unconsciousness and then bring them back. Do you know what I mean? Just fucking maniacs, absolute maniacs. But there you have it. So he's confessing to additional killings, and I'm going to start doing a couple more of different offenders in different countries. So I thought I would just wrap this video just now, and seeing what people thought of it, or if it was no the thing with nobody liked it, whatever. But I hope it was kind of informative, interactive, in that, because it's something a wee bit different instead of all the usual suspects. But that's all for today, everybody. Have a good day, take care, and as I say, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Take care, everybody. Bye.